Assalamu alaikum. A rare article of A. Rof Sahib on Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji. I read it. Please listen to it. It is an interesting article. Nehru ji, Dawning of the Masses by A. Rof Sahib. No other leader in the wide world had so much real love for the masses as Nehru. It was inborn in him. Often he wondered how the people of India, the common people of India, men, women, and children, gathered in their thousands at his meetings, though most of them did not know the language he spoke in and much less understood what he said. Still, they came not so much to hear his oration as for the darshan, to get inspired by the sight of the leader. He always loved to meet people, look into their eyes and fathom what lay behind them, to understand their urges, their needs, and their sufferings. How was he able to achieve this? No one was conscious of it in a greater degree than Nehru himself. He said, perhaps more than any other person in India at present, I have come in contact with vast masses of human beings. I came in contact with them and I am receptive to their feelings. And because I am receptive to their feelings, I can make them receptive to what I say. It has to be mutual. If I went about like a schoolmaster or a boss ordering them about, their receptiveness would close up. I go as a colleague and comrade, and I credit them with intelligence to understand the most intricate problems. On several occasions, when, as a security measure, the public were kept at a distance from him, Nehru got excited and shouted, I do not want to see policemen everywhere. Where are the people? Who are you to stand between me and my people? Only when he heard the people greeting him from somewhere did he relax or smile. This love for the masses and the reciprocal regard and esteem and affection that he got in abundance measure were unique. Probably he was the one and only leader who enjoyed this love to the point of deification. In fact, he exercised a hypnotic spell over the Indian masses as no other leader did before. Dr. Mathi, a former Indian finance minister, has said that it would be difficult to find in the history of this country, since the days of the Mauryan Empire, a single leader whose utterances and messages were received with such enthusiasm and interest by the people from the Himalayas to the Cape Comorin, so much so that he had got used to this hero worship. Very often he debated this issue within himself. At times he detested hero worship, yet he had got accustomed to it. His love for the masses was absolutely genuine. Some years ago, Nehru told the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry that the second 5-year plan was by no means over ambitious. He added, people who talked about the second plan being over ambitious ignored the nature of the problem and asked, was it ambitious for the Indian people to presume to think that they could ever be prosperous, wealthy, and strong? He continued, when we said that we could be independent and would not be ruled by any other country, some people in our own country thought, are these people disunited, fighting each other on religious grounds, caste grounds, and language grounds, poverty-stricken people, backward people, superstitious people who go and bathe by the millions in the Ganges or the Jamuna or some other river. If there is an eclipse of the sun or moon worthy of freedom, many people said so, and that argument might well have been justified logically on paper, but we dared, the people of India dared, the ordinary peasant, the poverty-stricken peasant of India dared, and we succeeded. Therefore, do not let it be said that we are ambitious. The moment we cease to be ambitious, we go downhill. Evidently, Nehru agreed with Browning, who said, "Oh, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what is heaven for?" Nehru had an uncanny way of winning the love, affection, and esteem of his countrymen. To quote one instance, on April 15, 1959, Nehru was on a visit to the city of Madras. A little earlier, he had displeased a section of the South Indians by his remarks on Rajaji, his strong attack on those who opposed the policy of his government with regard to Hindi, and his criticism of critics in general. The South as a whole felt offended. Still, when he came to the state capital, the citizens of Madras did attend his meetings in their thousands as usual, but with heavy hearts. Nehru mounted the rostrum and greeted the audience with folded hands and with a mesmeric smile. Those who were very near him, those who caught the glint in his eyes and the curve of his lips, were completely charmed and immediately forgot all about his offending remarks made on an earlier occasion. He began, "I am a very fortunate person. I have come to Madras on a very auspicious day, the Tamil New Year day. I congratulate you and give you my good wishes for the new year that is beginning today." This impressed the sensitive Tamilians and they were happy. Then he added, "Arriving here today, I had the best of New Year gifts given to me. That was a party of children of Madras gathered together for the inauguration of the Children's Park at Gindi. Is that not a piece of very good fortune for me?" Immediately after, a still larger section came under his spell. The whole world loves the man who loves children. Now he turned to the critics. He knew there was a good number of them in the audience and that the best way to deal with them was to recognize them. So he said, it is good to have critics because the best of us are apt to look at things in a limited way if there are no critics. Therefore, I am not complaining of criticisms, but I welcome them. The critics were naturally elated at this delightful reference to them and soon became his friends. Nehru remembered that he was harsh on Rajaji on a previous visit and felt that he owed the Madras audience an explanation, if not an apology. He was quite ready for the job. He said, a very eminent leader of India whom we have honored and respected for generations, Rajaji has been writing and sometimes showing displeasure of our policy. Anything that Rajaji says has always merited consideration and respectful attention. Now, I may perhaps venture to say one word for him with great respect, and that is a little charity sometimes in his thinking may not be out of place. We are not as wise as he is. He may have other faults. We may have other faults, but let us not be charged with lack of good faith. The job was so excellently and superbly done that Rajaji fans who were harboring a grudge in their minds forgave him, and all their animosity and antipathy towards Nehru turned into sympathy. Having thus secured the sympathy of the audience, Nehru began to have his say. He argued, let it be understood, it is not enough to criticize us. It is not enough to say that we are going in the wrong way. It is not enough to say that we are going too fast or that you must have brakes and checks. Otherwise, you break your necks. Let us analyze the problem. Let us try to find out what it is. He paused and cast a thoughtful look at the audience. He pondered for a while and resumed his speech. I am quite honest with you. I make no claim to any brilliance of understanding in economic matters and the like. I want you to consider whether all these wonderful plans came out of my head like Minerva coming out of the head of Jupiter. Rajaji knows that I am not such a brilliant person. I am rather an ordinary person with certain well-defined capacity, energy, and fortunately with a good deal of health about me so that I can throw myself about. Seeing the audience veering round to him, he developed the theme. Of course, always there is the driving force in our head that we have got to go ahead. If it is not there, I do not know what exactly we are for. I hope none of us takes hold of these ministerships just to earn a living. I suppose many of us can earn much bigger amounts in other ways. After all, we may not be quite so bad, not that bad. Now, Nehru's hand was on the pulse of the public. He said, in all humility, no single man, however able he is, can shoulder the burden alone, and if at any time those of us who are connected with the government, either at the center or in the states, imagine that they are supermen and that they need not consult others, then they have failed in their work. It is with this spirit that I wish to approach questions. Of course, I have failed often enough. I make mistakes, but I hope everything will be forgiven. If I mean the right thing, if I try to do right, and if I endeavor to do so, nothing appeals to the common man more than great men's modesty and admission of mistakes, and more members of the audience were being swept off their feet without their knowing it. The people were under his hypnotic spell. He said, well, my time is up. I am happy to have been able to come to Madras on this New Year day and to tell you something that I have in my mind. Life is exciting in India, dealing with problems. I have had my share of this excitement, and though there are big problems, the faith, the idea that I have the affection and goodwill of the large numbers of people of India has helped me and will help me. Then he pondered for a while and seriously added, and if any day the people of India do not have that faith in me, they are perfectly capable of asking me to retire and go away somewhere else, and I should gladly do it without a trace of, shall I say, resentment. I shall be very happy indeed, but so long as I am in the job, I am in it. I have some energy still, and I propose to strive hard so long as there is strength in me to realize the dreams we have had and the promises we have made. If I do not do so, I shall be unworthy of your confidence, of the position we occupy. I believe that this huge social transformation cannot be brought about by government decree. Millions of people have to work for it. Therefore, I beg of you, consider these matters, think of these problems, come to conclusions, and then act upon them. Jai Hind. Nehru did not like flattery or high-sounding encomiums. He preferred to it. He referred to it at a Coimbatore function when an address was presented to him, cataloging the many virtues that he possessed and many more that he did not. He shunned the praise. Too much praise is like too much sugar in the tea. Only a few can swallow it. Thank you for your listening. What do you think of this article? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji was undoubtedly a great person who was involved in freedom fight, who was involved in making India a great nation, who was involved in having friendship with the people of our country. We miss him today. What do you think of this article? Please do tell me. Thank you for your listening.